I personally believe that Harry Potter is an overrated wizard. Just his abilities. I love Harry Potter. Marathon every year. If it's on ABC Family, I'm tuning in one through all the movies. Sci-fi, it's on all the networks. I'm watching it every time. Love Harry Potter. But I believe that as a wizard, he's overrated. What is up, everybody? Week 2, episode 2 of the Nightly Nonsense podcast. I'm your host, Adam. I'm here with my boys, Chris and Dave. Guys, how we doing?
Doing good. Glad to be here.
I'm living the dream.
Yeah,
Happy to be back for round 2 with the boys.
How did we think week 1 went? Did it live up to the hype? Did it fall short? I was impressed with the feedback we got. A lot of people tuned in. Obviously, it's our people we know, but I was happy with what we got.
I mean, in my personal opinion, just the fact that we were able to record, edit, create social channels, get a link tree going, get it up on YouTube. And this is 3 guys with no experience in any of this at all. I was impressed. So I'm proud of us. I think we keep rolling, boys.
I agree completely. I mean, the people don't really know that we really just threw it together. And I think
they know.
I don't know. Chris, no experience editing whatsoever. And I think you knocked it out of the park.
I put about 6 hours in on YouTube just watching a Premiere Pro editing videos. So
you may be the MVP.
It paid off. And just building off that, I mean, the boys both said it there, but you guys are just along for the ride with us. This is a work in progress. This is episode 2. We're gonna get better. We're a pod of the people, and we're listening to the feedback, and we're gonna give the people what they want. Building off of that, I mean, one of the big comments we got was less sports, more nonsense. So right off the bat here, we're gonna get into some nonsense. So this is shower thoughts. So big week for the boys coming up. We got our golf trip. So I haven't been going to the gym because in my mind, 2 days didn't seem worth it just to get that pump in for 2 days right before we go on the trip. And when I go to the gym, I have people I see all the time. Like, I give nicknames to these people. I'm there at the same time that they're always there. I could go on like a Sunday at 8 a.m. and for some reason, the person I always see on a Thursday at 5 in the afternoon is there at Sunday at 8 a.m. So I guess my question is, do you think that those people recognize that they always see me at the gym? Or is that just kind of a me thing?
No, they definitely know for sure.
Oh yeah. They probably have nicknames for you too. I wonder what their nicknames for Adam are.
Yeah. For me, I got there's Sir Squats Too Deep at the gym. We got Pocahontas. We got youth group leader. We got a lot of people that I don't know them at any level, never spoken any words to these people, but I feel like I know them and I've given them nicknames. So I'm very curious to know, what do you think the people call me?
I don't know, but you definitely have a nickname, and I think I definitely have multiple nicknames. I also have gym nemesi. Is it nemesis or nemesi? There's multiple of them.
I don't know. I feel like
I don't know, but I prefer nemesi.
I like nemesi.
I'm gonna go with nemesi. There's this guy's probably in like his late 50s, but he's probably 3 inches taller than me, so he's probably about 6'7", 6'8", so big dude, but also like bulky. Like, I mean, he's probably 270, 280. And I mean, this dude is like my nemesis because I'm like, unless I lift every single day and work out as hard as I can, I'll never be like that. So he's my inspiration. He's my inspiration.
You'll never be 6'8".
I'll never be 6'8".
As hard as you try.
With advancements in modern technology, I'm not ruling anything out.
I think I've told some of my friends a story, Adam, Chris, both of you may have heard this before. When I was in the 6th grade, my doctor told me I was going to be 6'7" when I was fully grown. Oh my gosh.
Your doctor missed the mark.
I have never been more disappointed and underwhelming in my life. I'm coming in at 5'11". I was 5'10" in the 7th grade. I'm 5'11" as a full grown man. and I never came up to 6'7".
I think
I-
gravity is your nemesis.
I think you're right. I think you're right. But I don't know, Adam, what they call you at the gym. I mean, you're a small guy, so they may call you some things that you wouldn't want to be called, but you've gotten bulkier.
I have. I think I graduated high school at like 135 soaking wet. So we've built on that. Kind of going off of that though, another question, because I see guys and girls both at the gym and putting up weight that I don't think is worthy of wearing weightlifting gloves.
Oh,
Yeah, they're rocking the gloves. What's that threshold for it's acceptable for you to be, if you're deadlifting using the belt, if you're bench pressing, anything wearing the gloves, where's that threshold? Because
I don't think
like I personally, I'm not tossing weight around. Like we said, I'm a smaller guy. I'm not just in there tossing weight around. And people in there putting up less than me, like we'll say bench pressing with like a 25 on each side. They're like slapping their chest, they're grunting, they got the gloves on, they're strapping them in before every single one. What's that threshold? What's that weight that warrants that behavior?
I'll go ahead and say right now, I don't think there is a threat. I mean, I'm not one to be judging people at the gym at all, but if you're rolling in with gloves on, I think you need to get on out. I don't want it. Powder up if you need to, if your hands are chapped, but rolling in with gloves is a bad look, if you ask me.
Yeah, I personally think gloves are never acceptable. Yeah, I mean, I guess it'd be more acceptable for women, but I don't think I ever see women wearing gloves. It's like, I don't want to have soft hands. But as far as the belt goes, I think you have to be squatting above your body weight to double your body weight. Same with deadlifting, unless you have a bad back. A belt on bench, never.
Yeah.
Wrist wraps on bench, I would say like 225 and up.
Yeah.
Like if you're pushing 220, less than 225, like you would benefit more from building the strength of your wrist and learning how to properly brace than you are on the microscopic gains you're going to get from being able to push a little bit more weight. It's most likely just in your head. But at the same time, like if they're like high schoolers and they're getting pumped up and they're having a good time, like don't rain on their parade, because it's like I'd rather than be in the gym trying to learn this kind of stuff and maybe being a little bit embarrassing, but at least they're there and they're trying. So I try not to judge.
I respect that. I mean, you said high
man
schooler.
of the people, Chris Jablonski, everybody, man of the people.
But okay, so question though, what I think that the standards that of like what is heavy or what qualifies as strong has gotten so out of control. Like I think if you ask most people that like go to the gym and lift, what is like impressive weight, they're going to say either 225 or 315 on bench. They're going to say 225 or 315 on squat. And they're going to say 315 to 405 on deadlift.
Yeah.
That's wild. Like, especially like at your weight, Adam, like I'm not trying to toss any shade at all, but like 405 is almost like you would have to really, really work for probably 6 to 8 years to get to 405, I think.
Yeah,
what do you deadlift right now? Do you ever deadlift?
I don't deadlift. I do, but I'm not really like maxing out deadlift often. For the people, I got no shame tossing it out there. I'm 165. So, and like my bench max is 185. So like for me, I'm impressed with that, but like I would love to get to 225.
And then like everybody has that, like, oh, I wish I was here. And then for everybody who squats 315, they bench, their bench is bad, or whoever is really good at benching, their squat's not good. So everybody has their own weak areas. I think that's the fun of it, is trying to build those up. But it does suck when you go over and you're like deadlifting 405 and then you got to go over to the bench and you're like, man, I feel like a wimp right now.
And I mean, for the longest time, I had such a hard time asking people to spot me because I thought the weight I was putting up didn't warrant
it. Yeah.
A spotter. And then I got to a point where I was just like, fuck it, I'm going to start asking people. And then I mean, no one ever judges. I've never met an asshole at the gym. No. Like most people there are so nice.
Yeah, I think it's easy to get into your own head.
Yeah.
So, PSA for everyone out there that's thinking about it or might be a little bit intimidated by the gym. Everybody there, more so than anything, is going to respect the fact that you're there and that you're trying. I mean, you could be very overweight. Sometimes those are the people that I am the most inspired by. It's like, who is really working harder and overcoming more internally? Me, who, I was a little overweight for a while, but I feel like I've beat that back a little bit. But or the person who's really, self-conscious about how they look and has to really battle every day to just even get out of the car and walk into the gym.
Yep.
That's what I respect more than anything.
All right, guys. Well, I'm gonna go get in the car. I'm gonna head over to the gym.
Let's go.
So, oh man,
Adam, do you follow that guy on TikTok? He gets me going every single day. He's like, it's just every day he posts a video and it's like, oh, you're feeling tired today? Oh, your back hurts? You don't want to go to the gym? You just want to sit home and watch movies? Get off the couch and go to the gym. He gets me going every day.
I
You
don't.
sent me
I'm gonna need to start
I'll
watching
send it
that.
to you. Yeah, I'll send it to
Yeah,
you.
I'm
He
gonna
gets
need to
me
start
hyped.
watching
Every
that.
day I'm like, oh, it was going to be a rest day. Not anymore.
Yeah, I love that. I think that's a beautiful spot to end shower thoughts at.
Yep.
We're gonna keep it going. We mentioned it at the very beginning of this big week for the boys here. We leave tomorrow for our golf trip in Scottsdale. I think we even mentioned it week 1 of the pod, but every year this comes up, I think I'm getting more and more excited. And I think it's just the older we get, the better just these weeks, these golf trips with the boys have gotten, in my opinion.
oh totally. And I think I said it too last week. Nothing gets some upper 20s, early 30-year-old men going like a boys' golf trip. Getting away from the significant others, getting away from work, getting away from just about everything to go and enjoy some time with the boys there's nothing better.
I mean, I am very excited about it. I do think that, like, if you take 8 guys and you put them
9.
in a room, 9 guys, 9 now, and you put them in a room and you say, all you're going to do is play golf and watch sports for 4 days, 99% of the time, every single guy is going to be excited for that. So, and then the fact that we get to do it in a beautiful location and the fact that we get to do it with, people who we've been friends with since the beginning of time, it's a pretty special thing to be able to have. And it's a highlight of the year every year.
The listeners need to watch out. We may have some features on the old socials on the gram of the boys here during our golf trip. So
a little behind the scenes.
Yeah.
I think the goal next year should be to be able to record on the trip. I think that'd be fun, like out on the patio or something.
Yep, I agree.
Oh yeah, I agree, 100%.
So, what are we gonna set the over under at for beers consumed on this trip by the boys?
Oh boy.
Well, let's think about it.
So we said it. We got 9 guys.
Let's do some beer maths real quick.
What do you think is an average per day limit per guy on beers?
It's tough because how many beers does one transfusion count as?
Ooh, that's a good point.
Because I'm gonna have 6 to 8 transfusions every day.
6 to 8.
I mean,
I love
with a couple beers.
Day one's a marathon, not a sprint. So 36 holes day 1. That day alone, you're looking at just golf before we even get back and chill at the pool, chill at the house. Easy 10 to 12 beers consumed. Easy.
Well, and you're talking Thursday. We're getting there Wednesday. So
yep. That's what I'm saying. What's a good
4 beers is net scratch because you're out there, you're moving around, you're sweating. Yep. So 4 beers you're not even gonna feel essentially. So that's like the baseline.
In Scottsdale heat too. So you're gonna be sweating that out even more.
And then you're at that point, you're just drinking because you're thirsty and you're not drinking, you're not even getting drunk. So we'll say 4 to 6 is like a baseline.
Let's go 8 beers per boy, 9 boys per day. That's 72 beers per day for 4 days. 72 times 4 is 250. 202. Oh, geez.
Quick math. Quick math.
288 beers.
Okay.
That seems low.
So we're gonna
That's
set
very conservative. I mean, 8 beers is I mean, that's very conservative. A person.
Yeah, but while golfing, and then Saturday we're gonna act like the world's ending to celebrate the end of the golf tournament. So that's another 288 in 5 hours right there.
Yeah.
what do we set the over under at?
700.
That seems aggressive.
700.
I mean, if you're just saying 8, like 8 is on the very low end of what I expect to be consuming each day. I would say closer, and especially if we're doing a conversion of 1 transfusion to 2 beers. I mean, I could easily drink, like I said, 6 to 8 transfusions in a day. That's 12 to 14 beers, and that's just on the golf course. When we get home, let's say I have 4 beers in the afternoon while we're just, and then a shower beer, that's 5. So
Yep.
5 plus
I think
we're at
over-under.
17 now. And then when we go out, I'm going to have at least 6 to 8 more. So I think that's like 24 a day times 4 is about 100 beers for me personally. So if you
96 for you
did that
times
9,
nine.
that's 900. So I think 700 is a good over underline.
864 if everyone follows the logic you just went with.
So
I think over under
But,
maybe
like, I'm-
750.
I was gonna say I'm the self-diagnosed probably softest guy in the group when it comes to drinking, and I was gonna set my line at, and I thought I was even being modest for myself at 12 a day. Like there's
Yeah,
gonna,
we just
I
live
feel
in
like
different worlds.
that's what I'm saying. I feel like at a minimum, like 12 is, like Dave said 8 earlier. I think 12 is that number, is at
But
an absolute minimum.
I will say is I've fallen into this trap many times where I'm just out on the golf course having a grand old time sipping down beers, and then I forget that it's like actually a competition and that other people
Yeah.
are not doing the same thing as me. And then
Yeah.
it comes around to like hole 16, 17, and I'm like, woo, just like skirting the golf cart around, like hammered. And I'm like, oh shoot, I gotta get par on these last 3 holes to even try and qualify for the playoffs. Like,
As teammates, Chris, I may have to keep you in check.
yeah,
it's a fine
idea.
line. It's a fine line.
It is. Either way, next week on the episode, we're going to have to come in hot and let everyone know how many beers and drinks were consumed by the boys.
We'll
Are
keep
we
keep tabs.
tabbing?
We'll keep tabs.
All
We're
right.
tabbing.
Yep.
We're
We
tabbing.
have to do it for the people.
And I also think Game of Life should be active and live the whole time as well. I do like that addition that we picked up on our last bachelor party. And for those of you that don't know what the Game of Life is, it basically just means when you open your beer can, you have to alter your beer in some way. That could be moving the tab to the left, to the right, ripping it off, cracking, pushing down,
Making
putting
a
a dent in it, whatever
Yep.
it is. But if you're drinking your beer and you have not marked it and someone calls out the Game of Life on you, you have to finish your beer. Otherwise you're good if you've marked it. So
Yep.
I think that will be a fun addition
I like
this year.
I like it.
I'm going to be sniping.
And that definitely helps the numbers, because the more beers you have, you get lazy when it comes to altering that can.
How many beers do you think we drank in Geneva? Because that was about 20 dudes.
Oh, we drank.
That was a lot of beers.
Yeah.
I
To
mean,
be
I
fair,
don't know.
I was-
rolled in.
I was in
late.
such rough shape on Saturday that I did not contribute. I did not hold my own.
It's understandable. It's understandable.
You were that. I rolled in late the first night and it looked like a wasteland in the backyard. So, I mean, there was beer everywhere.
That's
right.
true. We just had a pile. Love it.
Over under 750 in the comments. I guess 749 and a half in the
Yep.
comments. Let us know if you're taking the over, taking the under. We'll report back.
We like beer. We still like beer. Automatic.
Still is. All right, Dave. Fantasy football.
Yes.
You got
Rough.
you got a lot to say. You got to let the people know what happened to you this week. I'm sure you're not alone here.
I can't
Sing your sorrows.
Terrible. I know we're not going to spend a lot of time talking about sports, but you talk about a terrible start to the week for me, a terrible outlook on my fantasy football season. Nick Chubb goes down last night, Monday Night Football, with a gruesome injury, terrible injury, out for the year. They announced it before the game was even over that he was done. I don't know what I'm going to do now. I mean, I am not a big.
0-2.
I'm 0-2 to
Yep.
start the season. Luckily, 3 other teams in the league are also 0-2, so it's not like I'm, completely out of it yet. But losing my number 1 running back week 2 of the season is a killer. And you know what it comes down to is karma, because I am a big like going into the season, I'm like, running backs don't matter in fantasy. I don't pick a running back till the 3rd round. Like, I go wide receiver, rounds 1 and 2. I
Maybe
do
even
that.
round 3.
Sometimes even round 3. I'm a big wide receiver guy, and I talk all that mess. And now, week 2, Nick Chubb goes down. And so it's karma. I don't like my outlook on the season now. That's for sure.
For the listeners, last place in the league has to do a beer mile. So that's what's on the line. Dave's 0-2. First big injury of the fantasy season. There's some guys that are sidelined, but we don't know the severity of the injury. Nick Chubb, it's been announced, out for the year. Things looking bleak for Mr. Fisher.
And not to even mention, last comment on it, my team name was Chubbers Chubb. I was a Nick Chubb believer, fan, super fan, some would say. Now I have to rebrand. It's all bad. That's all I can say about that.
I just have 2 things to say. First significant fantasy injury of the season is a wild thing to say, because J.K. Dobbins, who I was very high on and was very excited to see what he did this year, just recovered from an injury, gone out for the season on a contract contract year that he's trying to. That's tough. And what the second thing I have to say is just completely unrelated. But hold
on. Before you say it, you also forgot about Aaron Rodgers. That's a pretty big fantasy.
No, he's not even.
Aaron Rodgers wasn't going to win anyone a fantasy football championship. You can stream a quarterback that's going to put up more points than Aaron Rodgers.
You could argue, though, that it's a huge hit to Garrett Wilson as well.
Exactly.
It has fantasy implications, but it is not as impactful as your first running back off the board being out for the year. Because
first running back, or it's not the first running back in the league.
I know, but the first running back you took, like, when do you think Aaron Rodgers was taken in most drafts?
Yeah, I don't know.
He probably wasn't taken in a lot of drafts.
He shouldn't have been.
I guess you're right.
I mean, we're a 10-man league too, so it's like, I don't know if he cracks top 10 right away.
Either way, big time fantasy implications by him also. Sorry, Chris, I interrupted.
No, you're fine.
What was your second?
Is just my other, like, I'm probably the only person in the world that thinks this way, but there's some players that just don't get to go to new teams in my brain. For example, Miles Sanders still plays for the Eagles. You can't convince me that he plays for the Panthers. He's an Eagles running back, and I don't want to, like, the Panthers. That just doesn't even make sense. His name doesn't even fit there. I don't like it. Go back to the Eagles.
The Panthers as a whole. Adam Thielen, he's not a Panther. That's a Minnesota Viking.
There's some trades that work. Yeah, that's another crazy one. Good point, Adam. I don't like that at all.
It's just the Panthers offense as a whole. Just no one belongs there.
No.
The Panthers were in Monday Night Football, correct?
Yep.
We had them on shortly last night, and Alexa goes, "Is that the Bobcats? Who is that team?" And I go, "That's the Panthers." And she's like, "Where is that?" I was like, "Carolina." And she's like, "I've never heard of them before, ever." So maybe it's just the Panthers, but
the Bobcats.
Yeah.
Pulling out a former NBA team name.
Also from Carolina.
Yeah.
Really?
That was kind of impressive on her part to even make that connection.
She made the connection.
I'm not kidding, could probably name 12 quarterbacks. If you gave them teams, she'd be able to name the quarterback of most of the teams, I think. She's pretty good. Okay.
She play fantasy?
No, but I think that's just because she doesn't have a league to join. So for all the lady listeners out there, hit us up. We'll start a little ladies league, and then we can we can all select our favorite teams who we think are going to win throughout the year and keep tabs on it for all the listeners.
Go Bobcats.
Go Bobcats.
Love that.
All right, guys, we're going to try out a new segment with you. This is I'll Die on That Hill. So, the whole purpose of this segment is a rational take that you have that no matter what anyone says, if they prove you wrong, you're still not going to believe it. You know you're right. And I feel like I'm going to start it off with a hot one. So, Dave here is going to be our judge. He's not too deep in knowledge on this subject. So, Chris and I are going to argue the differing points, and then Dave is going to be the judge who put forth the best argument, who he sides with. So, topic of conversation is I personally believe that Harry Potter is an overrated wizard. Just his abilities. I love Harry Potter. Marathon every year. If it's on ABC Family, I'm tuning in 1 through all the movies. Sci-fi, it's on all the networks. I'm watching it every time. Love Harry Potter. But I believe that as a wizard, he's overrated.
That's all right, Chris. As the judge here, I'm going to go ahead and let you respond to those initial comments. Adam, you're going to have to give me a little more support.
Yeah.
But Chris, we'll go ahead. You've heard his initial statement. You go ahead and give us your counter.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a ludicrous take. It almost makes me think you were like, what's the hottest take I could come up with that's going to get people going, and then just say that you believe that. Harry Potter was 11 years old when he got to Hogwarts. 11 years old.
Yeah.
That's 5th grade for everyone out there listening and wanting to correlate that to where you were in life. At 11 years old, this kid made the varsity Quidditch team, which is essentially at one of the premier schools in, we're going to say, the world,
the wizarding
world.
Yeah, for sure.
So that's essentially a freshman or even like an 8th grader stepping on to one of the best high school football teams in Texas and becoming the starting quarterback and then going on to win the game. Beyond that, he also won the Tri-Wizarding Cup while like saving people along the way, like just blew through that. Like he wasn't even entered, didn't even volunteer. He was just like, oh, guess I got to do this. And then went and won it. And then to top it off, he defeats the greatest threat to the wizarding world that's ever been seen, so far to the point that, like, as far as we know, the wizarding world has been living happily ever after since that happened. Like nothing has really changed or happened since then. That's
a compelling argument.
Yeah, I mean, that's where I'm going to start. Sure, he did. I mean, defeated a giant snake. I mean, just the countless things that he got away with and was able to pull off. Yes, he did have some friends helping him along the way, but that's what good friends do. And I think that if we were in the situation, I think you guys would try and help me as much as you could. And I don't think that'd be carrying me. So I'm interested to hear what Adam has to say, but
yeah,
I'll rest my case there.
No, absolutely. And I do want to point out, because you made a great point, the man is world class with a broom between his legs. I will give him that. World class Quidditch player. So I'll give him that. But if we look at movie 1, granted, I understand, yes, 11 years old. I've also said this to Dave many times, and I've said this to other people in other arguments. You can be great and still be overrated. So I do believe that he is a good wizard. He's just overrated. We look at movie 1, and I'll also let it be known, I haven't read any of the books. So all of my knowledge comes from the movies. So if you've read the books and my arguments are far-fetched, you can let me know. But
I feel like you're going to get some heat for that. That kind of puts your credibility at issue, young man.
No, for sure. But even in the movies alone, Hermione knew more coming in than Harry did. If you look at, there's also going to be plenty of spoilers throughout this entire argument. So if you haven't seen the Harry Potter movies,
you don't get spoilers for Harry Potter. That's ridiculous.
I mean, I gotta preface it. People get mad about spoilies, but
I think people are going to get more mad that you admitted you hadn't read the books. But continue.
So movie 1, they fall onto Devil's Snare. Harry would have died if Hermione didn't know that all you need to do is relax. So there would be no more movies after movie 1 if Hermione didn't tell Harry to do that. Movie 2, he's in the Chamber of Secrets fighting the Basilisk. Yes, he does defeat the basilisk, but he also would have died if the Phoenix didn't come in and cry on his wound. So once again, that's 2 movies where without the help of others, he'd just be straight up dead.
Beep boop up.
Movie 3, Prisoner of Azkaban. He technically fails again, but he is able to go back in time with Hermione to get a do-over. The entire time they go back, reverse it back. Hermione throws the rock that hits Harry in the back of the head that lets them know that they need to leave Hagrid's house. When Professor
Great throw, by the way.
Oh my God, the
Underrated
accuracy.
throw. That was my 30-yard shot.
Just right in the back of the dome. Incredible. Hermione,
continue.
unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Absolute cannon on her.
And then when Professor Lupin turns into a werewolf, yada yada, and he's about to probably eat everyone, Hermione's the one that howls that gets him to run away. And then I'll give it to him. Expecto Patronum. He does it. Beautiful. Saves the day. But wouldn't have happened, once again, without Hermione, and if he didn't have the second chance of being able to go back in time.
What would you say to the individuals who say that he just knows how to deal with adversity? He overcomes adversity. Because what
Through others.
that you've just
Through
presented,
others.
but the argument you just presented is a lot of he almost died, he would have died, but at the end of the day, he comes through. I'm just asking.
So I know we're trying to get more into nonsense, less about sports, but that's my easiest way to draw connections here. He came up as the chosen one, supposed to be the greatest.
LeBron James.
And he got carried. He didn't carry others.
Except for the people that he saved during the Tri-Wizarding Cup. And the rest of the world that he saved when he defeated Voldemort.
He got tipped about the dragons before going into it.
So did all the other teams, for sure.
Yep.
For sure they did.
He was given Gillyweed through Mad-Eye Moody, who wasn't Mad-Eye Moody. It was whatever his face's son.
Yep.
Using Polyjuice. But if he didn't have him tell Neville to tell him, he wouldn't have known how to breathe underwater and he wouldn't have been able to save all those people. So I hear you that he did amazing things, but I have a hard time believing that he's the greatest when so many of his successes were dependent on other people.
Do you have an opinion as to who the greatest would be instead of him?
Oh, I'm not knowledgeable enough on the subject to say who is the greatest wizard of all time. I mean, Dumbledore has to be in the conversation.
That's the
Voldemort has to be in the conversation.
All those people have 30 years on him. So give him 30 more years of training and practice. Who's not to say that he's
I'm not saying he can't become the greatest or he didn't become the greatest, but at the time of the movies, he was overrated.
I mean,
Half-Blood Prince. He made it into the Slug Club based on his success in potions class. He would not have had that success if he didn't grab the book that was Snape's book that told him how to do everything.
True, but
and that was dependent.
That's quick thinking to know to grab the more weathered book.
He lost trying to grab the better book to Ron, and he got stuck with the crappy book.
Oh, true. That is true. Shoot.
It is. You're right. It is.
You got Chris on the ropes.
Like I said, you can be overrated and be great. I just have a hard time thinking that he lived up to the hype when so many of his successes were dependent on other people.
What is the hype that you're referring to? Because I don't think there was ever a time where he was like, I'm the greatest wizard alive, or like, I don't think the world really even just thought he was the greatest wizard alive. I just think they were amazed that he survived.
Every single movie, they're like, you're Harry Potter, you're the chosen one, yada yada.
Because he survived, not because he's just whipping around crazy spells all the time.
Yeah, but it's called Harry Potter. Everyone knows who Harry Potter is. He is identified as the chosen one, which we can get into that as well. Neville Longbottom had potential to be the chosen one. Voldemort just decided that he went to the Potter house and killed Potter's parents, and then Harry survived, which was because of his mom, not because he's just some miracle baby. There's also
all-time glow up by Neville Longbottom.
Big time glow up. So, like I said, I think he is a very talented wizard. I just think that other people aren't getting enough credit. And I think he's overrated.
Chris, this will be your final opportunity to give a counter argument. I think I'm prepared to make a decision.
Just to recap,
if you have no further comments, then you don't have to.
I do have a couple further comments, but I would like to address the opposing counsel, if I may. You put Harry up against anyone in that courtyard at the last movie. So he's what, like 16, 17, whatever at that age.
Yep.
Who is he losing to? Give me one wizard that's beating him in a straight up duel.
Probably Hermione. She has more knowledge. She knows more spells.
I think you're underestimating like the power that goes into your magic. And like you have to have like trauma in your life and things like that to channel that magic.
I mean, yes, he's at that point had experienced more trauma than I would say anyone his age, but I mean, by that final movie, they've all gone through some trauma. You got to be sneaky. You got to be cunning a little bit. And I think Hermione has more tools in the tool belt than Harry. He gets by on natural talent so much more, and he doesn't put the work in. And I think Hermione is a wizard that has talent and puts the work in.
All right.
This
will be my final thoughts.
You like to bring up that, yes, he defeated Voldemort, but after all the Horcruxes were destroyed, who's to say that any other wizard in that courtyard couldn't have also taken down Voldemort there? Without the prophecy saying that it had to be him who killed Voldemort, I'll take that out of the equation. He was weak. He was old at that point. He had nothing. He was broken. I think a lot of wizards there could have beaten him.
All right.
But I'm not J.K. Rowling.
I'm prepared to give my closing statements here, Dave, if that pleases the court.
All right. Mr. Jablonski, the floor is yours. Mr. Reichwin, if you could please abstain from making any comment while Mr. Jablonski gives his closing argument.
Thank you. For everyone out there, I would like you to imagine a young boy who loses his parents at birth, then lives under stairs in a household that is dysfunctional and toxic his entire life, with very little to do, little access to reading materials, anything like that. I think it's amazing that he even is a fully developed human being with social skills and is able to like talk to other people beyond just being the chosen one and being pretty much amazing at everything he does. That in itself is a miracle. Then this guy is just told that he has magical powers and is somehow able to harness those. That alone, again, is just that just flips your world on in right there. You have magic now. Okay, what do I do with that information? I'm going to go to Hogwarts, join the varsity Quidditch team as a freshman, win it, basically win the House Cup for my school as well. He's just, I mean, and I think one quality of being a great leader is also assembling a great team and identifying talent that can support you to accomplish your goals. So in that case, I'd say that he did a great job of identifying people who had strengths that he didn't have and becoming close with those individuals and saving the world. And with that, I will rest my case.
Thank you, Chris. Adam, any last thoughts?
I've said all I need to say on the subject. I just want to hear the verdict, and then I'll give my final 2 cents.
Okay. Comes now the Honorable Judge David A. Fisher, upon hearing the evidence presented to the court today by Mr. Adam Reichwin for Team Overrated and for attorney for Team Properly Rated, Chris Jablonski. Upon hearing the arguments, this court has ruled that Harry Potter is overrated. The basis for this determination rests on the fact that Mr. Jablonski spent a lot of time focusing on the fact of where Harry Potter originated and how he overcame that adversity. But the question presented to the court is whether he is the greatest of all time. And I must disclose, as the judge in this case, that I do have a personal bias for Hermione Granger, given my attraction to said woman since I was about 7 years old. However, based upon that, I
Motion for
that,
mistrial. I mean, right away.
He's on my side, and I think I have to agree with you.
But we're not arguing about who the greatest of all time is, even though I would say it's Hermione Granger. That's not the question. The question is whether or not Harry is the greatest of all time. And what Mr. Reichman has presented to us today is that there were a lot of other wizards who carried Harry to success. Not to mention the fact that Harry was given the name of the movies and the books from the very beginning without proving anything from the get-go. And based on that alone, he was overrated before the movie even came out. So based upon those reasons, among others, and the arguments that have been presented today, Mr. Potter is found to be overrated. That's my final determination. Closing thoughts by anybody?
I do have closing thoughts.
You could argue that the odds were always stacked against him. There was so much hype around this kid. He might have never been able to live up to the hype.
He may have not.
I would just like to say that you said I focused too much on his story and his upbringing, but isn't the backstory oftentimes what makes a GOAT? Let's think about Tom Brady for a second.
Oh, he went there.
If Tom Brady doesn't, start as an unnoticed, backup quarterback,
Tom Brady comes from
rises from the ashes to become one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. Is he still the greatest of all time? I don't know. Without that story, I don't know if he is the same Tom Brady we have.
I think that he would be still the greatest of all time. I mean, he won all those Super Bowls, MVP.
I'd say,
but who's to say any of that would have happened if he didn't feel overlooked and didn't feel like he needed to prove everyone wrong?
I guess you're right, but you're not really, because I mean, like, a lot of people would put Peyton Manning in that discussion or Joe Montana in that discussion of greatest of all time, which we're not going to get into that argument. That's for another day. But those guys didn't have to overcome anything, and that's not true. But they didn't have to overcome what Tom Brady had to overcome.
It was given to him, silver platter.
I might not be right, but I'm definitely not wrong.
And that's the beauty of I'll die on that hill. No matter what anyone tells you, you're going to believe what you're going to believe. And that's the beauty of it.
Exactly. So the people can sound off in the comments as to my determination.
I will say right now that I believe, Chris, that you're going to win the comments battle. I believe that. I think there'll be more people on your side in the comments battle.
I can't wait to get removed as the judge based on my comments during my determination.
Yeah, that's a bad look.
Tough look. But
I don't care.
Understandable as well.
Exactly.
I do believe this is a beautiful segue into one of my personal favorite segments, Dave's legal tip, just the tip. Dave, give me the tip.
All right. This week's Just the Tip, legal tip of the week, brought to you by Shank It Golf. Use promo code BoysBrunch15 at shankitgolf.com. The tip of the week is, if you're going through a divorce, don't go start spending money on your side piece, because all of the money that you spend, you may have to reimburse half to the spouse that you are divorcing. A lot of times when I did family law, I saw where people were spending money on their new significant others. Their wife or husband that they were divorcing was sitting there not spending money. They were getting rid of all of the marital funds. It's not something that you should do. So my advice of the week, my just the tip, legal tip of the week would be: don't spend money on your boyfriend or girlfriend if you're still married. This tip of the week is not legal advice, but is solely for informational purposes. The decision of an attorney is important and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
Thank you for the tip, Dave.
Got you.
All right, so now we're going to roll into a segment. This is Death Row Meals. So this will be a recurring segment. We'll get categories in the future. We'll set limitations to what we're putting out there. But since this is just the first time we're doing it, we're going to go, you're on death row, crime you committed, irrelevant. We don't need to get into that. Last meal, what's everyone going with? I've had this conversation with several people. I've never straight off my answer. I love my answer. It's how I would want to go out. Would love to hear, what are the boys having for their last meal?
I have two answers. I have my true answer and then an answer that's just going to make you happy. My true answer is whatever is going to make the bowel movement that I have after I die the worst thing to clean up, because most likely I do not deserve the death penalty. I can't imagine what I did to deserve it. So in that case, give me
Someone
a bowl
has
of
to
beans.
pay the price.
Give me a bowl of beans and just not even beans, like Taco Bell,
Skyline chili, maybe?
refried beans. Yeah, I'm going whatever you're gonna make a mess.
That is a really creative answer.
That's my true answer. My answer to please the people. Are we going by category or is this anything?
No,
right now?
just anything. No category. The world is your oyster.
I'd have to go some braised short ribs, mashed potatoes, and some type of vegetable medley. Something healthy.
Little greens. Got to stay true to who you are. Got to get those greens.
I think
I respect that.
It's absolute BS that you had vegetable medley. I don't believe it. So my answer is not going to be anything involving a vegetable medley. I can tell you that. So I am, without a doubt, going in prime rib steak. That baby's going to be large and in charge.
Medium rare.
Medium rare.
Okay,
good man.
Oh yeah, that's gonna be immaculate. With a twice baked potato on the side as the side. I got to start with a Caesar salad.
Okay.
Because I love a Caesar salad. So there's my vegetable medley right there.
Yep.
And then, as I've said this before, this is a wild thought, but if I'm on death row and I'm getting ready to die, I am obsessed with Cheetos, and so I got to have crunchy Cheetos as a side item.
Okay.
So I will. I know it's not the nicest of things, but my prime rib, twice baked potato, and Cheetos is going to make me real happy.
And you're just throwing butter on that steak? You got any dipping sauce, anything like that?
If you have
that was my question exactly.
If you have to use a steak sauce, well, I guess with a prime rib, I like a horseradish au jus combo.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I like. But
any butter on that? You got a little garlic butter, a little garlic herb.
I don't think I do on a prime rib. If we're just talking normal steak, maybe a fillet, maybe a New York strip, I gotta go with the garlic butter, but that's not what we're going with. We're going with prime rib. So
beautiful.
The horseradish will do the job on the sauce category. And then I'm rounding off dessert with a cheesecake. I love cheesecake. Also like key lime pie, but I think cheesecake if I'm about to die. So
just OG cheesecake, any flavored? We got a little raspberry swirl, or we're just talking New York OG cheesecake?
OG New York style cheesecake, because I'm getting ready to die. It's going to be a classic.
That's interesting. See, I always thought you'd go key lime pie over cheesecake.
Same. I thought key lime pie for sure. That's good to know.
You learn something new about your friends every day. So
I know. I do love key lime pie. I'm here to shock the world.
You're more vocal about your love for key lime pie than you are for cheesecakes. That was a curveball for me, but I like it.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just out here shocking the world, throwing curveballs, and not eating vegetable medleys.
All right, I'm gonna bring us home. I'm going a nice diner style cheeseburger. So we're going double smash patty, American cheese, ketchup, mustard, side of fries, and we'll go mint Oreo shake to bring it home. And that's how we're taking our talents.
You're not tossing any bacon on that burger? You just just burger? You're just burgering?
Just burger. Just burger and
Okay.
cheese, baby.
I mean, that's an elite order, though.
And
Elite
that's
order. I would have thrown bacon. Shockingly, I would have thrown bacon.
I
on
would have
the burger.
also thrown some bacon on there.
No, I'm a
it's
man
good
of
order.
principle. Too much time in this world have I vetoed the upcharge of the bacon. Even though I have it for free at my disposal, that's just not who I am. At my core, I'm a no bacon on the burger guy.
Mhm.
It's acceptable. We'll allow it.
Either way, I'd eat every single one of your guys' meals, and I'd be happy going out on that.
I honestly, I agree. Other than the vegetable medley.
Sometimes you need a little vegetable medley. Sound off in the comments. Let us know what your death row meal would be. This is our, like I said, no category, just anything goes. We'll be doing a couple more of these different categories, different limitations. Curious to see what you guys think. Curious to see what the boys have moving forward.
Exactly.
All right, guys. So let's bring it home. Last week, first time doing it, 1-for-1 wavelength game.
Bingo.
Every time we get it right, we're going to go up by 10. So we had to think of a number between 1 and 10 last week. We're doing 1 and 20 this week. We're going to keep making it more challenging for ourselves. If we get it wrong, we stay at that number, get it right, move on. So number 1 through 20, what do we want to do, boys? Do we want to ride the hot hand? Do we want to switch it up? Do we want to get a rotation going?
I think Dave should be our guesser this time.
Okay.
I'll guess the number. Give it to me. I'm ready, baby.
All right. I'm gonna text Adam.
All right, Dave, we're going to need you to take off the sunglasses, close your eyes. Because we're a pot of the people, we're listening to the feedback. So
Go
you know
for
we're
it.
not we're not lying. We're going to show you guys the number. If you want to play along with us, this is your time to close your eyes as well. See if you can guess the number. But let's see what we got. Dave, I'll let you know when you can open.
Okay.
Got it.
Yep,
All
got
right,
it.
we got it.
Dave, you're live.
All right.
Shades back on. It's go time.
It's go time, baby.
For those that maybe didn't tune in week 1 or don't know the rules, we have a number between 1 and 20. Dave's going to ask us questions. We are going to answer with something that is as close to that number as possible. And we got to be on the same wavelength. So Dave has to understand that what might be that number for me won't be that number for Chris. He's got to recognize who's answering the questions, how they're answering the questions, and we'll see if we get it right.
All right. So that means I'm the one making the 3 categories today.
Yep.
So
And it doesn't
It
have
doesn't
to only
have to
be
be
3
3.
questions.
Yeah,
If
you
you
can
feel
go until you
confident
have
after, if you feel confident after 3, you can give your guess. If you don't, you can keep asking.
okay. And obviously we're not going to do the same ones every week, so I'm going to try to mix it up a little bit. But my first one is going to be chips. Types of chips.
Okay.
And Adam, you go first.
All right. I'm going to go with kettle cooked salt and vinegar.
Okay. Okay. All right, Chris, hit me.
I'm gonna go pretzel rods.
Pretzel rods.
That's good
Interesting.
too. That's good too.
Interesting.
Be on the wavelength, Dave.
Okay. Okay. Question number 2. We're going to stir the pot. We're going to go with cities in America.
Tough.
I know. We're going to make,
Tough.
we're going to piss some people off probably. You know, the listeners from other cities.
All right.
Adam, you can go first again.
Yep.
I'm going to be honest. Y'all got me in a little bit of a mind pretzel after that.
We'll get there. We'll get there. Don't worry.
Yeah, we'll get there. All right, Dave. This is purely a wavelength answer here. Be on my wavelength.
Okay.
St. Louis, Missouri.
Okay. Cool.
I'm
Got
gonna have
it.
to go with Oklahoma City.
Okay. Okay. Interesting. I think I've got okay. This helps. Okay.
Yeah, we're narrowing it. We're getting there. I'm
We're
telling you.
getting it. We're narrowing it down. All right. And then the final one for now, unless I think I need another one. Beers.
Tough.
Are we going brand or
Yeah,
are we talking type of? Like, is this a
No,
Pilsner,
Brand and
lager,
type.
IPA?
We gotta
No,
go
we're going
brand
both.
and
Okay, so
Yeah,
given
we're going brand, but some of them, may be a combination. So
Brand and type. So you can't just
Okay.
say Budweiser. It's got to be
Yeah.
Bud Heavy, Bud Select, whatever.
Yep.
Yes. But if you said Budweiser, then I would assume just Bud Heavy.
Okay.
Because if you meant Bush Light, then you would say Bush Light. But it's okay. I
I
get what you're
said
saying.
Bud Light and Bud Select. I actually just said Budweiser and Bud Select. Those are the only two things I said.
Right. Sorry. Go ahead. Chris, you go first.
All right. I'm going to go Coors Banquet.
It's gonna be impossible to be. I've never even had a Coors Banquet. All right.
That's a real shame, honestly.
You have?
Yeah.
What kind of occasion do you go to? Never mind. That would be
A banquet.
That would give that may give more.
In college, Willie D's, the only bar on Dixon that had cover. We would go in, and everybody that I would go in with, we would get a Coors Banquet every time.
Yeah, we're 21. We drink Coors Banquets.
Okay.
Give me that tall boy Coors Banquet, please. On the same line as the Coors Banquet, we're gonna go with the Urban Chestnut Oktoberfest. Right there for you.
Oh gosh. Okay. My mind's in a pretzel right now.
Talk us through it. Where do you think? Where do you think you're at?
So,
like, what are you thinking?
So we're between 1 and 20. 1's the best, right? 20 is the worst.
Correct.
Oh,
Okay.
I did that so backwards.
Oh no.
That makes so much more sense now.
Yeah, because you.
All right, so Dave, let's see how we can do against all odds. Now you know
I'm
what.
leaving it in. Yeah, I'm leaving it in.
I was gonna say now you know what Chris was doing, and you know what I was doing.
Yeah, so now you just
now it makes so much more sense.
Think it. Yeah,
because I was so out on so many of your answers, Chris.
Which makes so much sense because.
But now I think we're in the sweet spot.
It's a top tier chip. Yeah.
Salt and vinegar chip is a top tier chip.
Right. That's why I was blown away by that.
Yeah.
And pretzel rods are trash. So, okay. So anyway, so 1 is the best, 20 sucks.
But I did it wrong. So
let
that be known.
Coors, okay, got it. I got it. Coors Banquets also, I would assume trash, even though I never really had it. And the Oktoberfest.
It's so funny.
I know. So, oh boys, you really messed with me. Okay, so that means that we're probably somewhere in. I'm just gonna go for it.
All
right.
For it.
I mean, you were talk about battling adversity. I set you up for failure here. Let's see what you got.
Let's see if I'm a real Harry Potter here. I'm gonna go with 5.
Oh, not even close.
No.
It was 18.
18.
Pretzel rods.
Oh, because
Oklahoma City.
Because 20 sucks. Yeah.
20 sucks. Well, then I would have said 15 in my mind, but either way, 5, 15, it was wrong either way. 15 would have been more respectable.
Yeah. Chris, now knowing that I messed it up, I mean, I think I gave great answers for thinking 18 was good, and Chris gave beautiful answers for knowing that 18 was bad.
I think this is a perfect segue into our other segment that we've been talking about, and it's just called "We're Working on It."
Yeah,
we're working on it.
This is a bad look for the boys right here.
We had some spelling mistakes. The editing wasn't great. We're working on it. We're not on Spotify yet. We're working on it.
We're just along for the ride, guys. We're just along for the ride.
Before we close this thing out, the amount of people who reached out to me saying that Chris spelled Deion Sanders wrong on the YouTube was the most feedback we got. Chris,
cut the guy some slack.
And
he did all of the cutting, all of the editing.
Intro. It was only in the thumbnail, I think.
I think so.
Only the thumbnail. Only in the thumbnail.
And like I said earlier, I'm giving you the MVP for the amount of work you put into
for sure.
Edit. but Dion really got the people going.
Well, how is it actually spelled? Because I had someone respond to me that it was DJION. Is that correct?
No,
That's
that was
Dijon. That's a mustard.
that was a joke. I was in that text. That was a joke.
It's DEION.
DEI.
DEION.
Yeah, that's my bad.
I mean, we're working on it. What can you say? We're working on it.
And the poor TikTok closed captioning too. That
I
does
mean,
it
there's-
automatically.
there- yeah,
That's not on
that's,
you.
that's
There's
AI
nothing he can
generated.
do about that.
No, but and everyone's TikToks are like that.
You can edit it, but listen, this if you're listening to this right now, just know that all the editing was done on a 3.5 hour flight to Scottsdale. So don't expect a lot as far as the video footage. Hopefully the audio sounds good.
But overall, I think we did better than last week.
We're working
Hey,
on it.
Yeah, we're working on it.
Exactly.
Next week we'll come back to you with another wavelength. It'll be Mr. Jablonski's 1 through 20, 20 being bad, 1 being good.
Noted.
We'll narrow it down. We'll nail it. Till next time. See you guys.